What's really holding you back in your personal training career? And it's not COVID 19. I'm Deborah Atkinson, and this is the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast. And this is a very special and very challenging time that we're in. And I am addressing it. But I also want to go back and we've got to unpack what else was already in your belief system, in your mind and your mindset before we entered COVID 19 that may interfere with you going forward. Here we go. Before we start, I want to tell you a story. The late summer sun felt delicious on my skin. It wasn't warm enough for a bathing suit anymore, but I'd rolled up my sleeves and kicked off my shoes to lie in the lounge chair for just a few minutes. I wanted these moments to last. These moments when I was a young adult, just beginning to take on responsibilities and yet still at home for a long weekend, feeling cared for, safe, secure. It was predictable. And beyond this was anything but. My first job, a new apartment in a new city, and the bills coming to me and my name. But my mom, while we were lying there relishing in the sun, dropped a bomb on me. I had assumed from some random segment of conversation that I remembered incorrectly that my mom's marriage to my stepdad years ago was because of me, that it was the right thing for them to do. I very likely had overheard a conversation or had one with my mom, and that was where I apparently left the room in the middle of the conversation. I left with the impression that because my mom was a single mom with 4 kids, 2 of whom were just finished high school, one who went into the Navy because there weren't other options, and my brother and I, who were still at home 6 years apart, and I was the baby at 5 or 6 years old when my mom started dating a man who'd been a single bachelor his entire first 50 years. Marrying my mom was the right thing to do. I had believed that for decades, over a decade. I carried around the guilt or the impression that I had to be good or that my parents had settled to provide security and safety for me and for my brother. Can you imagine what that would be like and how you might feel pressure to be perfect, never make a mistake, stay within the boundaries, play it safe, whatever those things look like for you? Okay, look, we're in strange times right now, and that story may have felt very odd as a beginning to this podcast, but stay with me. May feel like a story for another time, but this is absolutely a story for right now because I don't know about you, but I can create stories inside my head and believe them for years. Like the example I just gave, I believed from the time I was 7 until I was 25 that day in late summer, lying in my backyard with my mom, that my parents were married because of me, not love. I'd made decisions about what I could and couldn't do, who I could and couldn't be based on that for a very long time. We all do make choices based sometimes on false assumptions. We can get messages between the ages of about 3 and 7 years old that if we don't revisit why we have these limiting beliefs, will hold us back for our entire lives. So you may be in paralysis right now. COVID 19 is doing that to many. Is it you? You kind of want to hole up with a blanket and suck your thumb or dig into a bag of chips and watch old movies. Whatever it is, it's okay for a while. But if you're ready to take some control and feel better because you do, then keep listening to this episode. Self-doubt may actually be left over from your youth. Some message you got, even if it was wrong, like mine, could be influencing you still today. My mom assured me on that afternoon in late summer that no, that they had loved each other, that they'd had a wonderful marriage, that it had not been all about me. Did you know that you could be operating on a set of beliefs that are only that? But they're so powerful that they're the basis of how you're making decisions, choices, and taking action or avoiding action. So think about this as you leave this episode. Go back in time. And if you, like me, are the baby of the family, maybe you have to rely on the memory of older siblings and ask them what happened the year you were 3, the year you were 4, 5, 6, and 7, because there may have been things that getting more information and data, journaling about them, may actually reveal to you why you have these limiting beliefs that others can't understand why you do. The real questions that you need to ask yourself are this: are you operating on the wrong belief? Do you really know what it is that you need to do right now? Do you know how to really find what people need and want and will buy right now? And I mean literally right now during Corona, or at least in the future when we're through the worst of this. Do you believe that people aren't spending money? Stop. So here's an example. Last week, a client I had talked to for 10 minutes sent me a check for $7,500 when she said, the check's in the mail on Friday. I did what most of us do. I smiled, right? Monday, there it was. You've got to understand not all people are not spending money. Not all people are unwilling to train online. If you don't do it, get sessions booked on Skype and FaceTime for them, they potentially will find someone else who is doing it. Second question, are you not doing the right things, once you do know what to do? Let me ask you this. When no one is looking, are you doing the right things repeatedly? So you would ask your clients, wouldn't you? I mean, when I'm not with you, are you doing the workouts? Are you reaching fatigue? Are you lifting heavy enough? Are you doing it the way I instructed you? And maybe you're asking them, are you drinking enough water? Are you eating the right foods? I'm going to come back to this in a short while because you really need to know what to do right now, and you may truly not know. You're in new territory. If you've convinced yourself there isn't anything you can do, you are wrong. So in this instance, I think you'll be glad to be wrong. You can be proactive, and those that are ready when this is over, or who in fact are creating something that people want and need right now, may begin to grow their business even during COVID-19. What will stop you, truly stop you, from getting a personal training career that you want? You can't simply train clients at some low rate that you're comfortable charging and work hard day after day doing that and make a fantastic living, right? So even if you're willing to work hard, do the hard work, if you're just exchanging $1 for an hour, or 35 or 60 or even 90 for an hour, most of us are not comfortable charging what we're really worth. Working hard won't be enough to make a fantastic living. That just won't work. You can raise your rate if you get good and you're in demand and gain the confidence to do it. But there's a problem with that too. The myth that making more money will solve your problems at some point, your lifestyle will also increase. As your revenue grows, you want a better car, a better house. You'll have children and college tuition, and your expenditures will increase as fast as your revenue. For some people, they increase faster. So, what's the answer? Some type of scalable business model where you have not only revenue from one-on-one sessions, whether they're in person or they're online, but information products like courses and programs, or actual products like supplements, maybe clothing line, or affiliate products, so that you're not making the clothing line or the supplements, but you're earning money selling someone else's, that your clients also want and need to be more successful, that you sell as a complement to your services. In fitness, this is the way personal training started. For some gyms, it's still the model. Members join, and then those who personal train stay longer, get better results, so they're more satisfied customers. So often the revenue margin, the profit margin, is very small on purpose. For some gyms, personal training is a revenue stream. For others, it's not, because of the square footage and the equipment, the marketing, and the expense invested in personal training. In fact, it may be a loss and a marketing expense, similar to group fitness programs. The service is an amenity that brings people through the door, where they become members in order to have access to those programs. So, what about now? A more contemporary model is that personal training is the service and a membership is secondary. Smaller studios, online businesses often operate this way. A membership is the continuity factor after a personal training or a coaching transaction occurs. If you train with clients in person, then you may have an app or an online membership full of videos and streaming workouts that they use between your sessions or after they've completed your sessions. You may offer nutrition support or educational resources within it. In the Flipping 50 virtual membership, I offer all of those. Members are invited to join after completing a program or coaching. Whether you have a hybrid business, meaning work in person, face to face with clients, or you have an online business, 100%, digital programming is a key to your future success and your financial freedom. If you believe that by personal training one-on-one or even in pairs or small groups daily, you'll grow your revenue and relax into a flow of revenue easily, you are wrong. There will always be a need to launch. After one program is done, you have to go and get new clients again for the next one. You will always need to be marketing to customers with education and value so that you can stay fresh and current and support them. You won't be able to continue the same programming without freshening up your offers or having the what's next. What do they need after this? Consistency and persistence, doing the right actions, is what successful, profitable businesses do. Have you heard of McDonald's? Indulge me in telling this one story. One more story. I watched the Ray Kroc story just the other night. I didn't care for him very much, and I didn't realize his persona before I watched it. And I realized that his persona could very much reinforce the negative impression so many people already have about successful business owners. And yet, rarely do people make judgments truly knowing someone. We make judgments based on knowing ourselves and the beliefs we acquired growing up. At McDonald's, the success was built on the systems. The speedy system changed everything and really initiated fast food. The steps were written and clear and documented and repeated for a hamburger that was the same no matter what McDonald's in the world you went to. To be successful, your business has to be built on some kind of similar system. You've got to be unique and different in your methods. I know that every client is different, but you can still have a system for working with them. You build a smoothie the same way. You add greens and fruit and protein and fiber and fats in a liquid every time. At least that's my formula. But they're different every time. It might be kale or spinach or romaine. It might be berries or oranges. It might be pea protein or paleo protein. It may be fiber boost. It may be flax or chia seeds. And it might be nut butter or seeds. And then it might be water or almond milk, right? So all of those choices give you an infinite number of options, but there still is a system. There are common denominators in your client's journey, no matter who you're working with. And if it's athletes, pregnant women, or cancer patients, and anyone in between, if you repeat the same steps each time, your most successful clients go through again and again, you'll find you already have a system. You just may not have stuck to it every time. Maybe you get bored or your client takes control and wants to jump in ahead, and then you cave in. When you know what works, you can relay that to customers, you'll gain their respect, and you will distinctly be different from any other trainer who is also certified, passionate, and serves the same clients that you do. The question you need to ask and answer, honestly, is knowing this. You have to do the work to find out what clients want and need, and you have to create a system or a method and stick to it. Are you willing to do that work? Do the work and discover your system, and the work daily to share that system with others. And that means make the daily phone calls to prospective clients, making daily or weekly outreach calls to media to get in the news, making time to plan, create, and implement information products, following up with value-added extras with clients between sessions. Are you doing the right thing, those things, when no one else is watching? Like right now, no boss or employers hovering over your shoulder. No one is going to ask you at that staff meeting on Monday what you did in the last 7 days. Are you still doing what you need to do? That is the difference between fitness professionals that will succeed and those that are waiting and wishing for this to blow over and go back to the way things were. It is never going to go back to the way it was before, friends. You will decide if you want to be a part of the change in fitness and be there, or if you want to wait for somebody else to do it and change it and take a gamble that there will still be room for you. All of those things, those steps I mentioned, phone calls, content planning, creating, collectively fill you potentially right now and fill you for the future. Not taking action right now because you're scared is the wrong thing to do. Taking action, the right action, will put you in control of your future. If you don't want to, no is not a negative answer. In fact, it will save you a lot of heartache and frustration. If you would rather find a job where you can work as a trainer for an hourly rate and you only want to serve clients, at least you know that now. If right now you want to seek a more stable job opportunity, that's a good answer too. But if you do want to take the right actions and be proactive right now and be still standing, then what? If you answer, yes, I do want to do it, then the most important thing you can do is determine what the steps really are, research them thoroughly before you go into action. Most personal trainers begin training and think that just getting clients and getting through this first start, this beginning, is the best way to start. But what often happens is that they're still in that mode of just getting through it a year or 3 or 5 years later. It always feels unstable. Or if it doesn't, it's a bit of a myth because someone else another trainer, another coach is learning more, creating another service or a product that clients may get an itch to try something new if you've become complacent at all. If you're not connecting between sessions or providing additional content and support, if you're not 100% attentive and you forget that this session is about the customer from start to end, trouble, my friends. If you forget that you have a rapport with them, not friendship with them, and you blur the lines of professional relationships, you can't forget that your client always has choices. Right now, between sessions, maybe a long time, anyone who is serving right now without asking for money or making constant offers will be serving a community who will remember it later. You aren't getting paid, but what are you though? Are you really passionate still and educated with something to share? How can you support your community right now? What do they need? They don't just need another workout. Trainers all over the place, instructors are throwing up workouts online. That is so random. You know that's not the way to do it. If you are a personal trainer and you're simply throwing a workout up for anyone who finds it without defining this is best for you if, this is something you should avoid if, you're just contributing to the noise. Can you cultivate relationships and resources right now that if you don't feel you have the knowledge and the background to provide yourself, you can find those who do? Who's an expert who can speak to supplements? Who's a sleep expert? Who's an exercise and immune boosting expert? And I happen to know someone if you need someone there. You can take either the lead in an interviewing or providing it directly. But sitting quietly and watching will not help your audience, nor will it help your business. Right now, make 3 choices. 1, you want to do nothing, or that you're going to take action. 2, you want to do it alone, or you want to get support. 3, you want support from me right now or from somebody else. If you'd like to talk to me, book a call so we can talk about coaching for right now, for this moment that we're in. By the time we're done talking, we will together decide if we are a good match for working together and what your coaching options are. If you are ready to take action in your business and grow it now, and or be ready when more people do, once again, more freely invest in their health, then book a session with me to discuss your options. I want you to fill in the questionnaire first that you'll see a link to when you book and return it to me before our session. That way I can jump on that call and help you as much as possible. What are you waiting for, friends? You have an opportunity right now to be proactive. And being in action, taking control will feel better for you. You'll have less opportunity to worry, but you will also ground yourself in the roots that you know people need this. People need it to boost their immune system. Had they listened to us, more of them listened to doing the right thing, they would feel less threatened and scared right now. But second best is doing that today. And you can still be growing your business even though we're in the midst of dramatic change. You can rise above. Not all personal trainers and health coaches will survive this, but you can.